Alright, listen up, fish keepers. I'm about to blow your mind with some secrets that your local fish store absolutely does not want you to know. And trust me, after 25 years in this hobby and in fish operation, I've seen behind the curtain. It's not always pretty. Look, I get it. We all want to trust our local fish stores. These should be the people that are helping us succeed in this amazing hobby. But the reality is, many of them are running a business first, and your fish's well-being comes second. Before you think I'm just here to bash fish stores, I'm not. There are some incredible ones out there, and I'll tell you exactly what to look for. But here are some practices in the industry that are straight up predatory, and somebody needs to call it out. Today, I'm sharing 7 secrets that fish stores don't want you to know. Some of these are going to save your money, and others are going to save your fish's lives. And a few of them, well, they're going to completely change how you approach this hobby. Alright, let's start with the big one, the beginner fish lie. You walk into a store as a new hobbyist, and what do they immediately try to sell you? Goldfish, right? Oh, goldfish are perfect for beginners. They're super hardy and they're easy to care for. Yeah, here's what they don't tell you. Goldfish are actually one of the worst fish for beginners. These fish are absolute waste machines. A single fancy goldfish produces more ammonia than 5 neon tetras. Not to mention, they need massive tanks. We're talking 40 gallons minimum for one goldfish, and most beginners are setting up 10 or 20 gallon tanks. But here's why stores push them. Goldfish are cheap to buy wholesale, and they've got huge profit margins. And when yours inevitably dies from poor water quality, guess who's coming back to buy more fish? You are. The same scam applies to bettas. Oh, bettas are easy. They can live in tiny bowls. Absolute garbage. Bettas need heated, filtered tanks just like any other tropical fish. But stores love selling you that tiny bowl setup because it's a $50 sale instead of a $200 proper setup. And they don't even get me started on like the starter fish thing that they sell for new tanks. They'll sell you a fish the day you set up your tank, knowing full well that your tank isn't cycled. Those fish are basically expensive test strips that happen to die in the process. Here's what actual beginner fish look like. Zebra danios, white cloud mountain minnows, cherry barbs, yeah, hardy fish that can handle the mistakes that new hobbyists make, but these fish are often more expensive and have lower profit margins, so guess which ones they push. And the real kicker is that many stores know exactly what they're doing. I've heard employees admit that they sell disposable fish to new hobbyists because, well, they're gonna kill something anyway, might as well be cheap. Ugh. Secret number 2, the Compatibility Con. This one's gonna make you angry. Fish stores will sell you absolutely incompatible fish and act like it's no big deal. I've watched stores sell tiger barbs with angelfish, red-tailed sharks with community fish, and aggressive cichlids with peaceful tetras. Why? Because conflict sells fish. When your angelfish gets its fins shredded by tiger barbs, you're not going to return to the tiger barbs. You're going to buy more angelfish. It's a brilliant business model if you have zero conscience. I once watched a guy buy a beautiful group of neon tetras and a single Oscar at a chain pet store. The employee knew. He knew that Oscar was going to eat every single one of those tetras. But instead of speaking up, he rang up the cell. That's a $60 transaction that's going to turn into multiple $60 transactions as this guy keeps buying tetras to feed his Oscar. And here's another one they love, selling you a cleanup crew that's completely wrong for your setup. They'll sell you a common pleco for a 20-gallon tank, knowing that thing's going to outgrow your tank in 6 months. But hey, when it does, you'll need to upgrade your entire setup, and guess where you're buying that new tank? The worst part is how they justify it. Oh, every tank is different. You never know what might work. That's code for I'm going to sell you whatever makes me the most money and let you figure out the carnage later. And let's talk about the "it worked for me" defense. You'll ask about compatibility, and they'll say, well, I kept tiger barbs with angelfish for years with no problems. Yeah, what they don't mention is that they had a 200-gallon tank with perfect water conditions and got incredibly lucky. The truth is, fish compatibility isn't some mysterious art. There are established rules based on decades of collective experience, but following those rules means smaller sales, so many stores just ignore them. Secret number 3, the disease cover-up. This one's dark, guys. Many fish stores are knowingly selling sick fish and hoping you don't notice till you get home. Here's how it works. They get a shipment of fish, and some of them are clearly showing signs of disease. We're talking about ick, fin rot, bacterial infections, and instead of quarantining or treating these fish, they'll dose the display tanks with medications to mask the symptoms just long enough to make the sale. I've seen stores use methylene blue to hide bacterial infections, salt to temporarily suppress ick, On the saltwater side, I've seen low-dose copper tanks, which has led to more resistant ick and marine velvet diseases. The fish look fine in the store, but as soon as the medication wears off at your house, then boom, full-blown disease outbreak. And here's the part that's really messed up. They'll sell you that medication to treat the disease they knew the fish had. It's like a mechanic loosening your brake lines and offering you to fix your brakes. The dead fish situation's another red flag. A healthy fish store should have minimal dead fish, and what they do have should be removed immediately. But I've been in stores where there are dead fish floating in multiple tanks and the employees act like it's totally normal. Oh, we just got a shipment in yesterday. We always lose a few in transport. That's not normal. That's a sign of poor handling, bad water conditions, or diseased stock. But they'll sell you fish from the same system those dead fish came from. Oh, and let's talk about the "it's just stress" excuse. Your fish is clamped, it's lethargic, and it's showing clear signs of illness, but the store employee insists it's just stress from the move. Dude, stress doesn't cause white spots. Stress doesn't cause rotting fins. But calling it stress means they don't have to take responsibility. The quarantine lie is huge too. Many stores claim they quarantine their fish, but what they really mean is they keep them in holding tanks for a few days to see which ones die. That's not quarantine. That's just waiting for the weakest fish to eliminate themselves. Real quarantine is for weeks, and it's generally, you might have guessed it, not a profitable venture. Though I have seen stores that do it right, like Flip Aquatics and TSM Aquatics. Shout out. And that brings me to secret number 4, the equipment upsell racket. Fish stores do make a good bit on livestock sales, but the upsides that push for more margins are the equipment. And they will absolutely oversell you on gear you don't need. The classic example is filtration. You come in with a 20-gallon tank and they try to sell you a filter rated for 40 gallons. You can never have too much filtration, except you can. Overfiltering can create too much current, stress your fish, and waste your money. But here's the real scam. They'll sell you the most expensive filter in the store and then load you up with replacement cartridges. Those cartridges are where they make their real moolah. A $5 sponge filter can work in a setup where a $150 canister filter would be overkill. But there's no recurring revenue in sponge filters. The substrate scam's another big one. They'll try to sell you a specialized aquarium gravel for $3 a pound when you can get identical gravel at a hardware store for 50 cents a pound. Yeah, but this is specifically washed for aquariums. It's gravel, dude. Rinse it yourself and save 80%. Just make sure you do your research and pick the right one. Now, lighting is where they really screw you. They'll insist you need a $200 LED fixture for basic fish keeping. Unless you're growing demanding plants, a $30 LED strip will do everything you need, but they can't make money selling you $30 lights. The water conditioner is pretty sneaky too. They'll upsell you a premium conditioner with a stress coat and electrolytes for $20 when basic dechlorinator does the same job for $5. Fish don't need Gatorade, people. Secret number 5, the breeding mill reality. Here's something that's going to change how you look at those beautiful fish in store displays. Most of them come from massive breeding operations that prioritize quantity over quality. Those gorgeous bettas with flowing fins, well, many of them are so inbred they can barely swim. The fancy goldfish with the bulging eyes, yeah, they're bred for looks, not health, and many of them have serious genetic issues that will shorten their lives. I have personally been to some of these breeding facilities, and it is not pretty. Thousands of fish crammed into tiny containers, minimal water changes, and breeding practices that would make a puppy mill look humane. I wish I could show the footage on YouTube, but I'll get a community strike, trust me. But the fish are cheap, colorful, and profitable, so stores keep buying them. The guppy situation is particularly bad. Most commercial guppies are so inbred they're basically genetic disasters waiting to happen. You'll buy these beautiful, colorful guppies and they'll start dying off within weeks from genetic defects and weakened immune systems. And here's what really gets me. Stores know this. They know that the fish from certain suppliers are garbage, but they just keep buying them because customers want cheap, colorful fish. Quality costs more, and most customers shop with their eyes, not their brains. The cichlid trade is especially problematic. Many of the rare cichlids you see are actually hybrids, crossbred fish that shouldn't exist in nature. But they're sold as pure species at premium prices. They're genetic mutts, and they can't even reproduce properly, and often come with their own health issues. But stores love hybrids because they're unique and expensive, and when they inevitably have problems, customers assume they did something wrong, not that they bought a genetically compromised fish. Secret number 6, the medication maze. Fish stores love sick fish, not because they're sadistic, but because sick fish mean medication sales, and medications have enormous profit margins. Here's the dirty secret. Most fish diseases can be prevented with good water quality and proper quarantine, but stores would rather sell you $20 bottles of medication that teach you about prevention. The shotgun approach is their favorite. Your fish show any signs of illness, and they'll try to sell you 3 different medications. Well, yeah, dude, use this for bacterial infections, this one's for fungal, and this one's for parasites, just to be safe. Yeah, safe, except mixing medications can be more harmful than the original disease. And let's talk about the medication that doesn't work. I've seen stores sell natural remedies and homeopathic treatments that are basically expensive water. Tea tree oil for fish diseases? Come on. But desperate fish keepers will try anything, and stores are happy to take their money. The expiration date scam's real too. Many stores sell expired medications at full price. Medications lose potency over time. They'll keep selling them until the bottles are empty and your fish don't get better. So guess what you do? You buy more meds, creating a cycle of failure and expense. Here's what they don't want you to know. Salt, yeah, just salt. Plain aquarium salt can treat more freshwater fish diseases than half the medications in their store, and it costs pennies per treatment. But they can't make money selling you salt, so they will never mention it. And secret number 7, the expert employee myth. This might be the most important secret of all. Yeah, most fish store employees don't know what they're talking about. I'm not trying to be mean here, but the reality is that many fish store employees are part-time workers barely making minimum wage. Maybe they get a day of training, and most of that's about operating the register, not fish care. But customers presume that, well, if someone works in a fish store, they've got to be an expert. So these employees end up giving advice on topics they know nothing about, and customers follow that advice because, well, fish store guy said so. I've heard employees recommend completely inappropriate fish combos, suggest medications for diseases they can't even identify, and give water chemistry advice that would kill a tank. But they say it with confidence, so customers believe them. Now you gotta give them credit. This hobby is massive. You have many years in the hobby, but unless you keep a ton of tanks, you aren't covering every fish in the hobby in every environment. The "it works in my tank" defense is their go-to when they don't actually know the answer. They'll recommend something completely inappropriate and justify it by claiming they do it at home. Half the time, they don't even keep fish. And here's the real frustrating part. The employees who do know what they're talking about often get overruled by management who care more about the sales than the fish's welfare. I've seen knowledgeable employees try to talk customers out of bad purchases, only to have their manager step in and make the sale anyway. And the stupid certification myth's big too. Customers assume fish store employees have some kind of training or certification, but there's no licensing required to sell fish. Anyone can work at a fish store regardless of their knowledge level. Okay, so now that we got those out of the way and I've thoroughly depressed you about the state of fish retail, ding, let me give you some hope. There are ways to protect yourself and find the good stores. First, do your research before you shop. Know what fish you want, what they need, and what they're compatible with before you walk into the store. Don't rely on store employees for basic information, because that's how you get burned. Second, look for stores that quarantine their fish. Real quarantine, not just holding tanks. Ask to see the quarantine setup. If they can't or won't show you, that is a red flag. Though keep in mind, most stores will not quarantine because it eats margins. You can still buy from a store that doesn't. You should just do it on your own. Third, watch how they handle their fish. Good stores net fish carefully, they don't overcrowd bags, and they take time to acclimate fish properly. If they're rough with the fish or seem rushed, go find another store. And fourth, check their water. Good stores will test their water in front of you and show you the results. If they refuse to test water or their parameters are off, don't buy the fish there. This is actually very important to know, because some stores will keep their water parameters different than your own tank. For example, when I lived in the Bay Area, there was a fish store that I swear every fish I got from there would die nearly instantly. Now, back then I was a kid and I didn't know better, and once I figured it out and found out that they kept their saltwater fish in hypersalinity at a lower temperature than what I kept in my tank, well, that was explaining why the fish got so shocked and sometimes died quickly. And finally, find stores that will tell you no. The best fish stores I know will refuse to sell you incompatible fish or inappropriate setups. They'd rather lose a sale than set you up for failure. Now look, I know this video is pretty heavy, but somebody needed to say it. The fish keeping hobby is amazing, but only if you're getting good information and healthy fish. If this opened your eyes to some things you didn't know, do me a favor, smash the like button and let me know in the comments what surprised you most. If you want to see me break down what makes a great local fish store, the ones that actually care about your success, let me know. I'll make that video next. Don't forget to subscribe if you want more honest, no BS fish keeping content that's slightly unhinged. I'm not here to make friends with fish stores. I'm here to help you succeed in this hobby. And remember, the best defense against these tactics is knowledge. The more you know, the harder it is for anyone else to take advantage of you. Keep learning, keep questioning, keep those tanks healthy. I'll see you in the next one. And until then, keep your fish happy and your BS detector sharp.